Hello and welcome to Talk from Superheroes. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Ivamy.
And I'm Diana McCullum.
And you're listening to Talk from Superheroes, where every week we discuss a piece of heroic television or film. And this week on the podcast, we are talking about the return of Rick and Michonne with The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live.
Which was when it was announced called The Walking Dead, Rick and Michonne, if I'm correct.
Certainly.
That was the title.
I don't even think they were doing like The Walking Dead top branding. I think it was called like Rick and Michonne at one point.
But they were like too close to Rick and Morty. We can't.
Obviously, that's the problem.
There will be too much confusion.
That's what's holding them back.
People will tune in. They'll think there's going to be a wacky dude in a lab coat.
Yeah. And be like, it's too much. There's zombies, Rick. There's zombies, Morty. Like, what are we doing?
I'd watch the crossover.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
But
I watch any crossover though.
This is The Ones Who Live. Is what we're talking about here today. It's a new television series in the Walking Dead universe. We are covering the first 3 episodes of the show. So episode 1, 2, and 3 inclusive. And we are going to give you a spoiler-free review. So in case you're on the fence about watching it, you can listen to our spoiler-free review. Then once you hear the theme music, we will be in the spoiler-filled section. Before we even do the spoiler-free review, for those of you who don't know, this is just one of the spin-offs of... This is a show where I'm like, I feel the need to explain what it even is.
Totally fair. Mm-hmm. Yes, the original Walking Dead is over.
Done.
But there are 5 spin-offs.
Ish, or 5 done, starting, continue. There's variant spin-offs.
There are many a spin-off. So the Walking Dead OG doesn't exist anymore, but this is The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, starring Rick and Michonne.
Yes.
And that's not a spoiler. That's just that's how they sell the show.
That's how they sell the show. This is supposed to take place several years, or I think actually almost simultaneously with the finale, because after Rick left the mainline Walking Dead, the character of Rick, played by Andrew Lincoln, left The Walking Dead in season 7.
Okay.
Then in season 8, the show did a 6-year time jump from what I remember and understand.
Yes, because the baby grew up. Judith grew up.
And then Michonne, played by Denai Guerrera, left in season 9. And then seasons 10 and 11 had neither. And then that show ended. And now this show seems to pick up a little bit after where season 9 ended.
Okay.
So it is it's taking place approximately 6 years-ish after when Rick left the show, which was 8 years ago in human time.
Oh my God. You know,
the last time
makes me feel really old.
8 years ago was when me and you sat down to watch Rick's last episode.
To see him say goodbye. Well, with that in mind, I will say Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera look great.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Terrific looking people.
I mean, it does look like, even though there has been a time jump in the show, I'd be like, you look the same.
Doing great.
Finding some moisturizers in the zombie apocalypse, you know?
So they're looking great. That's The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. I think I've explained it.
I think we've done
as
all
well
we
as one can
in a spoiler-free review.
Okay, and now for the spoiler-free review, the simple question. Diana, did you like it?
I like it fine so far. I'm not sure I'm really going to like what this show ends up being. Like, episode 1, I didn't really like. It starts really hot and good, but then it's just it's all say, no do. It's just a lot of talking. I didn't like any of the characters. I thought it was all pointless. I didn't like any of that. But then episode 2, I loved. All the new characters they introduced were so interesting. They were fleshed out. They were charming. They were cool. There was emotional stuff. I thought episode 2 was so good. And then episode 3 was just fine. I liked it fine. And I think episode 3 is what the show is. So I think I'm a just fine on the show. So yeah, it's kind of I don't really know what a lot of the goals are, what we're trying to accomplish some of the times. I think really what's really elevating this to even a to me is just Denai Guerrera is so good. Oh my God, she's so good. And Andrew Lincoln is also good, but she's a step above. She's such an incredible actress. And with so little. She's in a lot of the show, but she almost never speaks. But yeah, it's not really drawing me in. I wouldn't really care if I didn't watch the rest, but it's also only 8 episodes, so might as well finish it. So yeah, I'm really I'm at a like but not a love for sure.
I think it's actually only 6 episodes.
I thought it was 8. I see IMDb also says 6, but I thought it was supposed to be 8.
Okay, I think, and who knows? Because as we discussed, this has gone through many iterations. Where at first this was supposed to be a movie, then a trilogy of movies, then back to a TV show, then a limited series TV show, then so this has gone through the works of everything.
A trilogy
that it could
of movies would make 6 episodes really well, though. So maybe it is 6.
Maybe.
Either way, yeah. I'm only at a like, so that's me. Andrew, what do you feel about The Ones Who Live?
I'm also at a like. I'm going to keep going with it. I'm going to say that this is better than it has any right to be.
Oh, you think so?
I think that for AMC completely fumbling the bag. They dropped the bag. They fumbled the money so hard with The Walking Dead as a series. They have fucked this in every way humanly possible, and it's pretty good. And the show turned out pretty good. To be like, okay, we're taking Rick off the mainline show at the height of its, or maybe a little bit past the height of its popularity, but to be like, for AMC to be like, we've got to cash in on a trilogy of movies with these 2 hot characters, Rick and Michonne. And now it's 8 years later, and you're not the most watched show on TV anymore, and you fumbled it pretty hard, AMC, and like the goodwill is gone, and everyone's kind of tired of like the way you're doing spin-offs, and like it really, like, all the business decisions set this up for failure.
Frankly,
and it's still way better than I thought it was going to be. And like, I'm going to keep watching it. I think it's pretty fun. I think it's very good. It's not quite a great or a love, but like there's a lot to like here, I think.
Oh, wow. When we get to the spoiler-filled section, I'm really curious what you love, because the only things I really like are Michonne.
Interesting. I think that, like, similar to you, I agree with you that, like, Denai Guerrera as Michonne is absolutely phenomenal. I think that Andrew Lincoln, really, like, seeing him back as Rick, I'm like, you really are good at this character. You really were good casting, and you kind of get who this guy is. And I think some of the problems with Rick have to do with the writing and not the performance, where I'm just like, you do have this down. That, like, I do see why people loved these. I remember why people loved these 2 characters, even though it's been 8 years. I was like, oh yeah, you're both great actors who get who these people are.
I don't really feel that so much when Rick's alone. When Rick and Michonne are together, holy shit! Like they're acting together, their chemistry together, their like innate trust together. I'm like, this is like what's popping here.
And I also think that there is a strong supporting cast as well, but we can get into that. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think there's also a couple of real weak links in the supporting cast.
Because there's not very many people in this show.
I understand.
So we'll discuss.
Yeah. So I look forward
discussed.
to be discussed. But yeah, I think it's better than it has any right to be.
Oh, I think I had pretty like normal expectations, so I thought it was going to be just a little bit better. I would say I'm thinking it looks like they spent more money than I expected, and the story is not as good as I expected.
Okay.
But I am like, I guys still got money though.
Yeah. There is.
They got money.
It looks good. There is money spent for sure. And can it be spoiled?
Can it be spoiled? I mean, maybe just like a little bit. Like, I don't want to say how it can be spoiled in a weird way, but not much.
Yeah, I think barely. And the timeline's all over the place, and it's
you
like
have to work to get spoiled.
You have to work to even understand where the starting point is to a certain degree, which is one of the negatives that we'll talk about. But yeah, I don't think it can really be spoiled.
Not especially.
No, not especially. Well, before we get into the spoiler-filled episode section of the episode, we want to thank our sponsor of today's episode. We want to thank our friends over at Mint Mobile.
Oh, Mint Mobile, thank you so much for your reasonably priced wireless plans.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. What a relief in this world.
Reasonably priced and easy to parse, because for so many years, cell phone plans have involved fine print contracts that are just insane and a waste of paper, and in no way were the best way to do that. For many years, I worked at electronics stores, and I would just print off these 12 pages of gobbledygook that someone would go, all right, and just initial the back, and then it's like, none of the things in there were good.
No.
They weren't in there to help you.
And you live with with that guilt every day.
And I carry that burden with me every day.
I signed one of those contracts that you put before me. But not with Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile saves you money, and there is no surprise overages because what they've done to save you money is they do not have brick and mortar stores. It's all online. Rents are incredibly high. They're like, we're a new business. You know what? Everything's on the internet. We're not going to waste our money. We're going to save our money, and we're going to save your money on these great services we provide on Mint Mobile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're gonna pass those savings right on to you with wireless plans for just $15 a month. You can use your own phone. You can bring your own phone number along with all your existing contacts. So it makes the switch over really easy. You can ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's limited time deal and get premium wireless service for just $15 a month, all delivered on the nation's largest 5G network.
All delivered on the nation's largest 5G network, and their website is so easy to use. The plans are laid out so simply. It's like, oh, thank you. Even if I did print this out, it wouldn't be 12 pages double-sided.
My printer could handle that.
Our printer, and you wouldn't be spending ink money. You wouldn't print it out, but if you did, it wouldn't take long.
You'd save on ink money. I was quite satisfied with using their website. So to get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/TFS. That's mintmobile.com/TFS. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/TFS. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. And thank you, Mint Mobile, for your support.
Thank you so much, Mint Mobile.
And now let's get into the spoiler-filled section. Let's talk more about The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. All right, we have watched the first 3 episodes of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Lived. We're kind of enjoying it. Me a little bit more than you.
You a little bit more than me, and I'm curious what you like about it. Now that we're like, what's grabbing you?
Okay, so if we want to start on positives,
I do,
because like I feel like I've shook you in a way that like you didn't expect me to like it a little bit more than you. I want to be clear, it's not a love. I definitely have some things that I'm going to want to dunk on about this. But as I mentioned, Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera, I'm like, I understand why you two got so famous from this show. You forget that feeling of like 2 people playing 2 likable characters at the height of their powers. But I'm like, you are fucking good. You're really fucking good at this.
It's likable characters, and it's also characters who've like have grown a strong enough bond that you as viewers just feel very comfortable with them, and you're rooting for them. And you're like, they will not betray each other. They will not let each other down. And you don't have to kind of be on the edge of your seat about like, oh, in this world, who can you trust? You're like, those two. We trust Rick and Michonne, and we especially trust Rick and Michonne together. And it's all performance, but it's also like the show used to have great writing and really built that relationship incredibly well. But yeah, this show pops the most when they are on screen together.
Yeah, so they pop, and I really do like a lot of the supporting cast who I think elevate it. Like I really do like Nat in the episode 2, played by Matthew Jeffers. He does a phenomenal job of really shining in that episode with Denai Guerrera, where I'm like, the show, writing wise, they're trying to have it all, and there's a lot of like, hey, these 2 have a huge bond. Don't you know that? And I'm like, no, I don't, because we skipped a 6-year time jump and things are weird and none of this really makes any fucking sense at all. And it really relies a lot on the actor to carry that. And, you know, we do see the introduction of Michonne and Nat, but then also we have like a year of recovering with oxygen therapy in like a mattress store, and there's stuff like that. But I'm like, this guy is so charismatic, is so likable. And I'm like, I get it. I feel every relationship around this person, even when the writing isn't quite there. I'm like, you, Matthew Jeffers, as an actor, have elevated this to a next level.
I completely agree, but I wasn't going to count any of the characters in the Michonne episode. I think all 3 were great. I also liked the girlfriend,
the husband and wife as well, yeah.
I liked them a lot too. I thought all 3 of them were phenomenal, but all 3 of them were killed. So I'm not going to put that in my forward liking of a show.
But a lot of people get killed.
But they're only in that one episode. But like, yes, I agree. All three of them were great. But every character, I don't think I like a single character that's ongoing at this point, other than Rick and Michonne.
Interesting.
But I really loved all three characters in the Michonne episode. And it wasn't because of Denai Guerrera. They all were just so fleshed out. They were so charming. They had such personality. You really felt like they had history, that they loved each other. It was heartbreaking when Nat's just like, he's like in the circle of fire, so his zombie friend couldn't get to him because he couldn't bring himself to kill him. I was like, this is gorgeous.
And even just like him, that's a perfume booth, and just him using the alcohol and perfume to make makeshift explosives, and to be like, this background of like, I'm a guy who's kind of a pyro, and like I know how to make improvised explosives, and that's how I survive. Like that's cool. Your backstory's cool. He carries it well. And that moment of emotion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those three, and especially Nat, were incredible. And then maybe it's a negative on the show because I'm like, man, I miss them. You didn't replace them with any characters I like yet. I wanted at least Nat to live.
I agree. I did kind of want Nat to live. Like, it's very Walking Dead to be like, hey, we have some new characters and they're going to die and they're going to be fodder. And I actually kind of like that now that Rick and Michonne are the only titular characters that people can die again. Because that was something about the show The Walking Dead where it was like, man, other than Rick, man, we really don't know who's going to die in this one.
Oh, yeah. Everyone was up for grabs. They killed Carl.
And then every season, as certain characters got more and more popular and financially bankable, AMC just was like, what if we changed this from the comics? And it just became a little bit more of like, okay, so now we have 12 characters who have an executive producer credit. And then at any given week, some dude who shows up who's like, hi, I'm Small Gary. And it's like, oh, I wonder if Small Gary's gonna fucking make it. And he's not.
And he's not. Small Gary didn't survive.
But having
regular size Gary's still around.
But having Rick and Michonne, I'm like, oh, now people can die. So like, I'm not so mad about them dying. I will say from a performance perspective, even ones that like I say, I'm not defending the writing of some of these characters. So Esteban.
He's really great. He might show up again. You're right. He's still alive.
And so goddamn charming.
He's so good.
And he was written in a ditch. Like for this actor, Frankie Quinones, to come in, terrible exposition, and also like the exposition is he comes in and he's like, wow, we've known each other for 6 years. You never talked to me, but I came to this bench and said hello to you every day until eventually it's stiff and it's just trying to be like, hey, Rick has a bunch of cool new characters in his life. You haven't seen it. You haven't gotten to know them. You have not developed any type of relationship with them, and they should carry no emotional resonance. And then the actor, Frankie Quinones, comes in and is like, injects it with such wild charm and charisma. It is an incredible masterclass in watching a charismatic actor absolutely elevate piss writing into something incredible.
I can agree with that. Yeah, he's had so little to do that I kind of forgot about him. But when he is on set, like when Rick goes to him and asks for like the tunnel schematics, and he's just like, I can't tell you that. I can't tell you that if you lift that manhole, you can go straight and then left and you'll be out of the city. I couldn't possibly tell you that the code is 61825. Like, he sells it so good, and like just that little bit of conflict, you believe it. Yes, there are, you know what? Yes, there were some great actors, and there is still at least one other than Rick and Michonne in this. He's really, really good.
So Esteban is good. And then I do want to say, like, some of the CRM around Rick, I think I like better than you. I do really enjoy Leslie Ann Brandt as Pearl Thorne, the other kind of like head of the mercenary.
She doesn't do anything for me.
I'm not saying I love her, but I think she's carrying it, or carrying that role to a certain regard. Terry O'Quinn, who I think is just a phenomenal character actor who's playing the Major General. I'm like, oh, what's this shithead gonna do? Like, he just plays these type of character roles really, really well. So I'm kind of into that. Okafor was an interesting character and an interesting portrayal. And again, like, the writing behind it doesn't quite work, but these are actors who I feel like are coming in and being like, I know who this person was yesterday more than the writers do. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying that I love these characters. I'm saying that I have a lot of respect for all of these actors have come in and I think made these characters better than they were on the page.
All right, maybe they have. Yeah, I don't think the last three you just listed to me have done anything for me at all. I've been like, no, I don't like that you're on screen.
Fair.
But I'll respect your enjoyment of their performance. Yeah, I think other people on the show are doing it better. But yeah, so like, yeah, I think there's some lows for me actor-wise. There's some highs for me actor-wise. How do you feel about Pollyanna McIntosh, who we used to call the Garbage Elf?
I'm still going to call her character the Garbage Elf.
Well, yeah, because that's her name. She's the Garbage Elf.
She's the Garbage Elf. It is one of the most idiotic characters ever put to television.
Now, they did make her stop talking like that.
That doesn't make it not the character they wrote. It is the opposite of a fan favorite. This character is pure moronic chaos from a writing perspective. Like, this is one though where I'm like, I cannot even justifiably gauge the actor because I don't know what's going through your mind with the things that you're being told to do. You were introduced on The Walking Dead as someone who English broken spoke poetry in. Rick.
And the zombie apocalypse had been going on for like 4 years at that time. And it was not like generations had passed.
And she had a community of people who were making artwork out of garbage. And they're like, we've survived by art. Creating soul is life. And I'm like, there are cannibals. There are there are dead cannibals and living cannibals around you. Negan caved in people's skulls for crossing the wrong road.
But
you're trading art and you talk in poetry, and that's your whole thing. But you've also made a secret deal with a secret government. Why would they? Why would you? Nothing you... I hate the Garbage Elf so fucking much.
Now, hear me out, though. The secret government does want non-leader idiots.
Yeah.
If the secret government would have met Negan and been like, oh, kill Negan and all his people. They're too powerful. But they meet the Garbage Elves, people who are speaking in broken English 4 years after the apocalypse and like art. And they're like, well, these are bees. These are bees. These are easily susceptible, gullible. Oh, they'll even stop talking weird if you just put them in a city.
Yeah.
Full of people. And I love that. I will give credit to, I guess, the hair designer. The chaotic nature of this character who's constantly like just changing alliances is reflected in her hair in such an incredible way of like, she used to have Garbage Elf hair, and then sometimes she has like this nice normal curly hair, and now she's got this like crazy military bowl cut. And I'm like, oh, you really are capturing all the layers of like nonsense this woman encapsulates.
You know what the energy of this woman is? It is a woman who takes on the personality of whoever she's dating at the time. Is this character.
That is what she does.
Of like we've all known those people in real life where it's like, I'm really into motorcycles now. And it's like, you're dating someone who's into motorcycles? Great, awesome. I love that this is your new personality. That's Garbage Elf.
Garbage Elf found the garbage community. She took that upon herself. She met Rick and got a little bit badass for a little while. And she was like, maybe I can join the military. And then she joined the military, and now she's completely all in on the military.
All in the military and being like, I'm trying to get promoted, and then is all in on bureaucratic nonsense to be like, you've got to have your own personality.
You were
at
a
some point.
hippie 3 seasons ago. A full-blown hippie.
This character could have honestly been portrayed by 4 different actors and 4 different characters. That's how inconsistent the writing of this character is. Easily they could have just recast this and renamed it at any given time. It's miserable. It's miserable that this character's here.
It's miserable this character's here. This is going to be such a crazy flip-flop from what I said earlier. I mean, like, it's not her fault. I actually think she does a pretty good job, Pollyanna McIntosh.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not trying to shit on the actor.
No. The character is insane, and not in, like, a fun, insane way. Not like a Loki insane or something. Like, just like, this is nonsense. But, like, I actually think she does kind of interesting stuff with it. She's doing the best she can with the garbage as a Garbage Elf.
Yes, she absolutely is. So she's doing what she can for just why this is the character that's tying it all together. I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember if we did an episode on Rick's final episode, but we were just like, the Garbage Elf saved him, so she has to stick around. Like, we were not happy.
We were not at all. I believe we did do an episode about that.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Yeah, so it's painful. That is definitely a very painful thing, but these 3 episodes, I don't know. I've had a good time. Other than that, I've liked the supporting cast. I think that, like the strength of the lead characters keep it going for me. The action's pretty good. Like,
I'm pretty. I don't really think the action's much of anything. Mostly we just hit walkers in the head with like the little stick.
I like these new little sticks.
The little sticks are great. They have really found maximum like how to kill a walker stick.
I think they're like lawn irrigators. They're the things for like digging holes in your grass or whatever.
Plant a little tree or something.
Yeah, for planting little trees.
I think it is plant a little tree. Instead, you're going to plant it in someone's head. Yeah. Take that.
So I don't know. I like that. How do you feel about the arm loss or hand loss of Rick?
That came in hot, and it was a cool opening. It was like a really like, whoa, what a big opening. And I thought this was going to be a real like swing of a season. I kind of didn't like it just because I was like, this is like, it's just like people lose a lot of hands. Aaron lost a hand on the regular Walking Dead right after Rick left. It's like, it's the limb you can most easily remove, it seems.
Right.
And also I was like, cut the rope.
I think it was like a steel rope, but
an axe.
You keep working.
Or just the thumb.
Do something. Oh, yeah, you could thumb it and then slide it off, probably.
You don't need to lose your whole hand.
Yeah.
But no, it was big. I really liked, I mean, you have to kind of remember the old show like quite well, but like the emotional turmoil on his face when he was like planning on cutting off his hand was probably the highlight for me, because I feel like, without even saying it, it felt like he was flashing back to when Negan tried to make him cut off Carl's hand.
Oh, interesting.
He didn't end up doing it, but he like got really, really close. And I didn't even feel like it was Rick worried about his own hand, but just like flashbacking.
Interesting. I barely remember that.
That one really stuck with me. So I like Andrew Lincoln sold it. I believed the desperation. I believed he just cut his hand off. So that was, I don't know. I just think too many people lose hands, but this was shocking and cool. So.
Dang.
What did you feel about the hand?
I felt kind of medium on it. I agree it was shocking and cool. I think it was there for shock and cool value. I think it would have had more emotional. It could have had more emotional resonance because like it comes in hot with that to be like, whoa, this is shocking and cool. And then afterwards they're like, that was his 9th escape attempt. And like, this is how desperate he's gotten. And I'm like, okay, I didn't really know that. And I think I would have liked to have known that. Whereas like it really just seems like it's like try something else and then afterwards, but like in my head I'm like, why don't you try something else before cutting your hand off? And afterwards the show was like, by the way, he tried other things before he cut his hand off. I'm like, okay, but tell me that first. Mm-hmm. So it was there for shock and cool value, and it did have that. It did actually hit that in spades, but I think it didn't have the emotional resonance that it could have had, and it just felt like kind of like a quick hit of comic books, because like in the comic books he like lost his hand ages ago. I think it might have been like the farm area.
Oh, did he?
So yeah, he's a character without a hand, I think, for a long while in the comics, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, it felt like a quick comic book nod and then like crazy chaos, and it worked a little, but it didn't have the emotion that I would have liked it behind it.
Yeah, I think if they'd waited a few scenes, like I know they want to like grab you right off the top and be like, you're gonna want to watch this, and it is shocking, but yeah, just there could have been definitely way more emotional impact on it.
Yeah, yeah.
It might have been the only thing I liked that episode though.
Really?
I really don't like this the
military storyline?
Stuff. They're not evil enough.
Right.
There's not enough to be fighting against. Like, yes, they're not letting him leave, but also like he cut his own hand off. They're feeding him. He's in a nice apartment. Like he's got electricity, which is like technically a prison, but in the apocalypse, that's like safety and security and what everyone wants. So there's just like not enough evil stuff going on for me to be like, yes, Okafor, you should rebel. I'm like, no, it seems fine. This all seems fine to me. There really needs to be some cannibals. I get that you're killing like a lot of people and not letting them in. But for the people that are here, I'm like, yeah, this is fine. You're building a very easily susceptible society of idiots, but like you're saving people.
But you're doing it on purpose. Well, you're saving susceptible idiots as well. Yeah. So like I agree partially with you. I think it's not as interesting as it thinks it is.
It thinks it's really
I think it's a little interesting, but it's not as interesting as it thinks it is.
I think it could be really interesting. Like all this stuff about Okafor like refusing to bomb the city. Mm-hmm. Like if I'd actually seen that.
I love that as a character backstory.
Like, revealed a little bit more slowly. It was just thrown at us so quick in episode 1 that I would like, and like it's all just talk and you never see flashbacks or anything. And I was like, I like the idea of this a lot, and I don't think it was executed well at all.
Interesting.
But that's a cool backstory. Like I didn't bomb Baltimore, and I'm the reason this city still exists.
We're
pretty sure it's Baltimore. Baltimore, by the way.
Yeah. I had to kill my wife and the rest of the military base.
My wife.
I want that scene. Okafor flying a bomber over his military base, close up of his wife on the ground, looking up and like squinting, realizing it's him, and then him in the cockpit, single tear. My wife drops the bomb.
My wife.
Yes.
Which is where all of our minds went when we found out he bombed his wife.
Give the people what they want. Or maybe not bombed. He might have had to. He says he killed his wife because she didn't want to ignore orders with him. You know how that played out, we don't exactly know. But it seems like he bombed the military and let the National Guard take over.
I mean, we know he had a plane full of bombs, so I feel like most of his killing was bomb related.
Yes, and still is ? I think the thing that's not working for me about like the Okafor storyline is the like, what are they really doing? Wink. And I'm like, just tell me what they're doing and then have us work towards something. Because the mystery is the thing that I really don't give a shit about.
It won't pay off.
It won't pay off at all. And you've got 6 episodes and you're setting up a thing that's just like, oh, but when you really find out the real truth, that's the really interesting truth, that's so interesting, it completely flips people's whole wigs and personalities. It's like, you can't possibly follow through with that. And it's going to be just like a blandly evil thing. Like it's going to be one boring bureaucrat who has too much power or something, who's just like, I'm actually killing these other cities because I like the way the system works for me.
I also completely wrote down they're definitely bombed the other city that died.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like it's obvious.
Yeah, they want to be the secret city and the only city.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why they're like, we need to be a secret city because we're planning to bomb those other cities. And if we told them where we were, maybe someone there is like us and they would plan to bomb us. And it's like, yeah, you're a secret city because you would bomb anyone you know about. That's why you're doing this, right? Mm-hmm. For ultimate power. It's the reason that anyone corrupt does anything. Yeah, ultimate power.
The only thing they could do that would be like, whoa, what do you mean that's the secret? Would be if they like changed it to a different genre. If they were like, and also there's werewolves. I'd be like, whoa, there's also werewolves? Something like that. Like it would have to be totally like a Zombies Plus.
It would have to be they have the cure and aren't using it.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That would be, but like, there's no way they can pay this off. The mystery sucks.
No, the mystery sucks, and like, there's no way they can make me believe that they should be like wasting all this money on helicopter fuel. This is infuriating.
Is fuel like I get for the people living in the city? It's like, look at those 3 wind turbines that powers people's houses. Cool. Are helicopters free?
Yeah, what's where are you getting all this gas? In the last episode, they said they had to stop and refuel 5 times on the way to where they were going. I did some math for us. I love doing a little math.
Oh, I meant to do math and I didn't get around to it. Bless your heart for doing it.
All right, so on the maps, they've shown that it's Baltimore, Portland, and Omaha. So I only did a little bit. So Portland to Omaha at a top speed on a helicopter is 11 hours. 11 hours, 5 refuelings, and you're doing this every couple days?
Yeah.
You're out of gas.
Yes.
You're out of everything. And also, why did you go this far ever?
Yeah.
Like, if you have a secret city that you've salvaged, you definitely just, like, build out from there. You don't skip several states at a time. It's insane to me, the scope of it at this point in the apocalypse. We're not far enough into the apocalypse for this.
Yes. Yeah. I fully agree. We're not far enough into the apocalypse. And also, we don't know why they're doing it. So there's no clear motivation, which is the frustrating thing.
Yeah, the lack of motivations is what's killing me.
And it's just going to be something dumb. It's going to be something dumb where it's like, if you look at it, I guarantee you at some point we're going to get a dumb, evil person speech where it's going to be someone where it's like, if you look at world history, multiple superpowers cropped up and then competed but there would only be one superpower. If early enough in their growth they knew to destroy all rival societies, then they could be the one. It's like, okay, you want to be the only... You don't want anyone growing in parallel with you. You want to be the only superpower is going to be the reason that you do all of this.
Yeah,
it's
that's
obvious.
That's why you kill leaders. Mm-hmm. That's why you only take in followers. That's the answer, Fishbulb. It's
simple.
Rick
it's
and
dumb.
Michonne are going to stop you by killing all the leaders when they go to that summit.
Yep.
They're definitely just going to blow up that summit.
And it makes it boring as a plot device because it's not what Rick and Michonne want. What Rick and Michonne want is to leave. And then the whole show is being like, ooh, what about the mystery? And our lead characters, our title characters are like, I don't fucking care.
We do not care. Where's Judith?
And if our title characters don't give one shit about any of what, like, the garbage elf is conspiring at a summit in Omaha, fuck off. We as an audience don't care. It's dumb. Stop it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, I think this is my main problem with the show. Yeah, definitely. The main characters don't care. They don't care about fixing the city.
Yeah.
Even despite Rick reading like 3 books or whatever Okafor gave him to read. And like, yeah, they just want to go home.
Yep.
And like, I get that. That is such a clear, good motivation. And I think it's why Michonne's episode worked so much better. Because like, it was just such a clear, like, find Rick.
It was one where it's like, I want to do a thing. I've met other people and I know what their motivations are. And their motivations have changed and aligned with mine.
Mm-hmm. And then my obstacles are so clear. Here's a bunch of walkers. I've been chlorine gassed, so I have to recover for a year. Like, it was just such a clean, good episode of television.
Whereas in Baltimore, it's I'm Rick and other people are also doing stuff, but I Rick don't care about it. You, the audience, don't care about it.
And they're desperate to include me, but I don't want to be included.
So yeah,
I'm like everyone's favorite little consignee, but I don't really want to join anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need a story needs lead characters who are involved in the plot lines. It's as simple as that. But I do think that like the whole I think CRM is the CRM group.
The military. I don't know what the CNR stands for, but the M probably is military.
Yeah, probably something military. But their characters, like, yeah, I found Okafor interesting. Like, I like Terry O'Quinn as the Major General. I'm like, you are cool casting for a dude that's for sure going to give an evil speech. Like, I do like these actors, and there are elements here. If our lead characters were interested, there's elements here. Like, I like the idea of, like, we're bombing other cities because we're paranoid. I like the idea of, like, we only accept people who are followers. These are all ideas.
These are interesting ideas that I don't care about because Rick and Michonne just want to leave.
Because they don't care about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
Just need some threats. And I will say, actually, yeah, I don't think Okafor really is all that interesting, but damn, that actor has an incredible voice. That is one of the most unique, cool voices. I do want to, like, hear you do stuff. Yeah. I do just want to listen to you talk, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. He's got that, like, Lance Reddick, like, just cool guy. Like, yeah, I want to hear what he has to say about any. And blew up. He went in a fantastic way.
Holy shit. Really, like, it's like the wash death in Firefly if he also exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really upped it.
Yeah.
They took it a step further. What was I going to talk about? I think I was going to talk about Michonne a little bit more. Oh, yes. I was going to talk about, there is like a weird thing happening that I think is on purpose, and it's just funny to me in retrospect. Mostly with the garbage elf, and I guess sometimes with Thorne, the other military person. They try to kind of make it like a spy thriller. They're like, well, we have to have secrets, and there's politics, like Game of Thrones styles, and we're doing all this. And I just sincerely love that Rick and Michonne are so bad at it. Like, Michonne's okay at it at first, but she can't hide how badass she is, and I think that's awesome. I think it's so cool that she's such a badass that they, like, don't even believe that they're like, yeah, you're a follower. You are so cool, though.
Yeah.
Like,
you're just the coolest follower in the world.
The curse of being just the coolest person ever is, like, hilarious to me. And then Rick can't, like, keep a secret or an alliance for the life of him. He's like, I just want to fucking go home.
Yeah. Rick sucks at diplomacy.
He's so bad at it. But, like, on purpose.
Yeah.
They're like, these aren't his motivations. He just wants to leave, and he's so fucked up about the fact that he can't. Like, it's driven him insane that he literally has tried 8 times. And, like, they give him freedom, and he still can't get out. I think is what's driven Rick the most insane.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
The fact that even in these freedoms, he's like, I can't escape. And it's so frustrating.
Yeah. I could see... Yeah, I am wondering why he's losing himself in the way that, like, Michonne is talking about, like, I want Rick back and I don't know where to find him. You know what I mean? Like, I understand the unsuccessful escape attempts weighing on you and breaking you down to a certain degree, but I don't know what's really changed Rick.
I feel like we really needed to see Rick see the scope of this military a bit more. I think they've said they have like 17,000 troops or something. But like we've never seen Rick like see that. I think Rick needs to have more of a scope on things than Michonne, because like I think if the garbage elf hadn't threatened Alexandria and Judith, he was going to leave with Michonne. Like he was fully out. He was like, yeah, we're going to take that red canoe. We're just going to go. But I think like that is really what stopped him. But I also feel like the show needed to like establish that like he has seen bigger things than Michonne, but I haven't really felt like he's seen bigger things. I'm like, he's sure been in a helicopter a lot.
He's seen helicopters.
He's seen helicopters and he's like killed zombies, but we've all killed zombies.
Yeah.
So I think and also they don't show the inside of the city enough. For the first episode, I actually wasn't sure there were people in there. I thought the consignees were being lied to about being allowed to be let into the city.
I also was thinking that we were going to get a lie situation.
That's a cool flipsy of how to keep people in line, like a Real the Island situation.
Yeah. I'm like, it's been done before, but I'd like to see it done here. Sure.
Yeah. I would totally believe that's how the military would keep people in line. Like, you work for us long enough, you get to go in the city. So when they actually went in the city, I was like, oh, the city's real. Oh shit.
Oh, shit.
Huh. This isn't what I expected.
Okay.
So you're not super evil. Like, people have, like, great lives, it seems. 100,000 people have incredible lives.
Really good, which like kind of makes sense. It's like you would need educated people. Like a dude worked his way up to engineer as a consignee. Like you don't just like kill him because it's been 6 years or whatever. Right?
Yeah. So like that makes sense too. But I was thinking like, they move the consignees if it's been 6 years to somewhere else. Like now you're in the 10-year consignee spot or something. But yeah, they're she's just so much of a badass, and she does. And I feel like any other show, I would be so upset that a female character has so few lines, but Denai Guerrera doesn't need them, and it's so cool.
She's cool. She's incredible. Here's something I would like to dunk on about Rick and Michonne. They obviously love each other. That's what you're rooting for. You're like, you gotta meet up with one another. You gotta love each other and meet up. At what point, though, do you raise your kids? At some point... we all love the story of like a love that just can't let go, and you'll find each other through an apocalypse, through space, through time. We all love love. We all love love. But at some point, you gotta turn around and go raise your kids. At year 7 of like, I hope he's still alive, you've gotta turn back and raise your kids.
You do. I do want to point out that off mic, we did discuss that you look for someone for 2 to 3 years max is what we landed on.
Maximum.
Now, I will say I do think they actually did a pretty good job when you think about it, because Michonne didn't look for Rick after he exploded. She raised her kids. And it wasn't until 5 years later when she found clues that she took off. So she's really only spent like a year and a half not raising her kid. But it is the zombie apocalypse, so you should raise your kids.
When she meets up with Rick...
Kids. She has 2 kids.
Yeah.
She has a son, and Rick doesn't even know.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is... Oh, yeah.
That's Rick's son. He doesn't know idea.
He doesn't know that he has a son. And she doesn't want to tell him about it because obviously that'll mess with his mind. And I get that to a certain degree. But when they meet up and he's like, how's Judith? And she's like, she's fine. Is she? Is she?
You had chlorine gas problems for a year. You have no idea if she's fine.
Yeah, a lot can happen in a year. We watched The Walking Dead. At one point, you pissed the governor off so much he rolled a tank up to your prison. A lot happens in a year. You took on cannibals, a tank man, a whole other city. At this point now, randomly, not related to Rick, they could have gassed all of Alexandria.
Yeah.
Like, you have no clue.
These helicopters are just picking out people they see.
You would think that when that happened to Michonne and her group, Michonne would be like, oh, it's time actually for me to go check on the kids, because I wonder if they're getting gassed randomly. Or at least warn Alexandria to be like, get some kind of an anti-air defense. If a helicopter comes, shoot it down right away.
Now, I agree, but at the same time, they really did write in such a great, like, I have to stay in this mall for a year. Like, recovering from the chlorine gas.
Yes.
So, like, they gave her a really good out of, like, not being proactive in her story for a bit.
Yeah, but then she does go forward.
She does go forward.
After
at
healing.
That point, you're like a day away, it seemed. She seemed really close. You gotta check.
Fair.
Nat's speech about what did he say? I wrote it down. You can still believe and go back to your kids.
Yes.
Oh, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm like, Nat's right.
Nat's right.
Nat's right. You can still believe he's alive. For her to be like, oh, so I'm supposed to accept he's dead. No, go raise your kids.
And hope he comes back, but you're the one who knows where the kids are.
Yes. Easy as that. There's so many other solutions. And we've discussed similar ideas before as well, but like Rick's whole like, I'll cut off my own hand before I agree to anything you say. Be like, just agree for a while. It's been 7 years of you being disagreeable. If you spent 1 year just going, yeah, cool, you probably could get out in a cleverer way.
Because he did bow down to Negan for like 6 months until he finally like came up with a plan to take down Negan. Like he's done it before. So
That's
it's weird.
what you do.
I feel like Rick is very different when he doesn't have a group that he is trying to help though. Rick on his own is not the same man as Rick defending his people. And I do think that's what's missing here for Rick. 'Cause like Michonne on her own, I get. She was on her own for a long time. She survives on her own. I'm like, yeah, I get it. But Rick is such a defender that just on his own, I'm like, I'm not sure who you are without people to look after.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
And I think he doesn't either.
Yeah, I mean, you could look after these people. Any of the Esteban. Look after anyone. He's so charming.
Yeah.
It's Esteban.
Esteban shouldn't have been looking after you.
But
you should have been looking after Esteban.
Also, when Michonne was presented with the opportunity to leave. I think it was not romantic to be like, she won't leave her love behind. And be like, no, rally the troops, come up with a plan. That was your opportunity to go plan. Get back to Alexandria. Figure out a way to take down helicopters. Like, collect whatever technology Nat had, like, and try to reverse engineer and figure out what the fuck that missile launcher was. You need 1 million of them.
That was cool as hell.
You need what Nat had it. You need to warn Alexandria, and then you need to come up with, like a 7 to 10 person stealth infiltration mission where you swim up to this city and try to get Rick out. You've got to leave.
I don't know. I actually disagree on that one.
Okay.
I think it's much easier to just stay and implant yourself and convince him to leave with you.
Okay.
Then like spend like months and months and months going back to Alexandria and getting cool like sniper things. On most of these I agree with you, but I actually think staying is just like that's so much easier right now.
All right.
I'm gonna staying with him.
All right, you stay.
Here's a very silly thing I want to dunk on though. I'm gonna dunk on cell phones as portraits.
Okay.
Because hear me out. They have electricity.
Yeah.
And even without Wi-Fi, cell phones are great.
Calculators,
games. You can still take photos.
You can
You
still
can have
take
actual photos of your loved ones. You
Uh-huh.
can take one of those cell phones, not scratch the case up, and then just take a photo with some electricity because you have electricity.
Uh-huh.
A calendar. You can write down all your little notes about all the military people and then just lock the phone. You don't need Wi-Fi for phones to be great.
Oh, that's a really good point.
So, like, you've got, like, TVs and shit. Actually, they also have TVs. The TVs work. So he's still making photos on TVs. You're not making new TVs. This guy's ruining incredibly rare technology.
I think TVs, there's a lot of TVs around. I think that there's more TVs than people on the earth. Like, there's a lot of TVs.
All right, so we're not going to be...
But phone I get. Phone is like, yeah, you could use phone.
You could use phone. There's a way better way. Just draw a picture on a piece of paper. What's up with the phone?
Yeah.
Why is it in a phone?
That dude was a garbage elf for sure.
Oh, shit, that's his art. He does fucking Black Mirror art.
Yeah.
It's like the art is that I drew you on the phone instead of taking your photo with the phone. Oh, fuck, what a
He's one of the garbage elves. He's one of the garbage elves.
He's absolutely one of the garbage
But yeah, you're right. We have paper and pens.
We have paper
And
and
pencils.
pens. This is new media.
We have charcoal.
He got an art grant.
An art grant from the government.
He got a new media art grant to like really basic ass photos on phone. They're pretty basic ass photos.
They are fairly basic.
When he recognizes Michonne, I'm like, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't, buddy.
No, you didn't. No, you don't.
Also, Rick's not this chatty. You don't have this information.
He
didn't tell Esteban this shit.
Yes. He's not super descriptive and poet. Like, you know, I don't know. Hey, he was a cop. Maybe he dealt with police descriptions. He knows how to deal with a police sketch artist. That's what it is. It's the old cop background popping up where Rick now knows how to deal with police sketch artists.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You got me there. He would have been a hell of a garbage elf.
Yeah, he would have been. You just got copped. So I think that's what's going on there. Yeah. How do you feel about the very misunderstood categorization of everyone as A's or B's, type A or type B personality?
I don't mind that, actually.
Okay.
Like, I think it's pretty, like, not obvious, but I think when you do find a group, you're like, yeah, those are the leaders. They're going to cause us problems. Just kill them and just take the sheep. It doesn't bother me at all. I think a very bad fascist government would be like, oh yeah, we want that.
See, I think that that does work in theory, and that's interesting for like a moment or two, like when you take over a whole group and you're like, who's the leader? Are they a problem? We might need to kill the leader. Kind of makes sense. From a fascist aspect, it kind of makes sense. But also, this is a big enough society that you need middle management. Like, people aren't entirely type A's or type B's. Like, even people like Esteban, who's like, I'm now in charge of engineering. It's like, you have to be a little... You cannot run a city's aqueducts without being somewhat a person who takes charge in some capacity.
But you can be organized and still not a leader. Like, I don't know if I have a lot of leadership skills, but I'm organized as hell, and I'm good at giving out little tasks.
The military is every concept of a military, including the CRM in this, is literally designed around different rankings of leaderships. So there is no A and B. It is around it is a ranked leadership system.
Yeah, everyone could eventually be a leader.
And everyone could be a leader, and many leaders exist.
I get what you're saying.
Like, you can't run a military with one person and then 18,000 troops. One commander, 18,000 troops, no captains, no sergeants, no lieutenants. Like, it doesn't work.
See, that's what's weird to me. That is a little wrong to me. Yeah, I did find it weird that they weren't taking the leaders and putting them in the military. Because they did with Rick and Thorne, but like that was like a secret. Okafor said they were B's when they were actually A's. So that means every other person in the military, other than like the top leaders, like all these 18,000 troops, are all B's. So like you'll never have anyone to go up the ranks, I guess.
Yeah. Who leads your squads?
Yeah.
What happens?
You do eventually need some leaders.
Yeah. Yeah. That's entirely how the military is set up.
But yeah, it doesn't bother me too much in the city because like I don't think you have to be such a good leader when like no one below you wants to be a leader either. Like maybe someone's lazy or bad at their job, but you're not going to have like pushback because we've got all really nice people.
Okay.
There's no assholes, I guess.
It's just everyone who's like, yeah, whatever.
Because anyone who's an asshole wants to be a leader. No one's like, I'm an asshole and a follower. Assholes want to be in charge.
Now, I'm actually I think that you're right there. Yeah, because I think that it's like in the leader and follower game, I'm imagining more of a Snake Plissken type person, where it's just someone who's like, this might as well happen.
He is very. He's not a leader. You're right.
He's not a leader.
Oh shit, Snake Plissken.
But he's a threat.
Is not a leader.
He's not a leader.
But he's a threat.
But he is this might as well happen.
I think they'd put him in the military.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
But he would be a threat.
He would be a threat.
But he doesn't want to lead, but he doesn't want to burn the system down. They haven't accounted for anarchists. Either you want to lead the system or be a cog. They've not accounted for anyone who's looking to just burn a system down.
They have not used enough letters.
They've not used enough letters.
There are a lot more letters. There can be A, B, C. You can get a D in there. Maybe even an E.
A binary system is flawed.
Yeah, it's not enough.
No.
It's not enough for gender.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
It's not enough for anything.
For types of people.
Nothing is in a binary.
Except numbers.
Oh, numbers can be.
Numbers can be.
You know what
From
numbers
what
can
I understand, I've never really wrapped my head around
I don't really get it either.
I actually kind of got it on TikTok.
Okay.
I saw the other day, but I didn't get it past like 5 numbers.
Right. Or past like
that?
The moment of watching that TikTok.
And I didn't understand how that became code. So, but that's too many steps for me. Yeah. But I was like, oh, I got the basic of how that works.
Well, thank you, little TikTok, who got her somewhere.
Little TikTok, who got me somewhere. Do you think you'd survive? No, you're an A. No, they'd kill you, babe. Fuck, you're gone.
But I'm a reluctant A. I'm a Pliskin.
But they would find you leading people because people flock to you.
Interesting.
Unless they found you alone for some reason.
See, I'm somewhere in between like a Pliskin and a Jeff Winger. Reluctantly a group gathers around me and I'm like, what are you doing? I don't want to be part of this.
But everyone has agreed you're in charge. We all took a vote and Andrew's in charge.
It does.
And it does happen.
This isn't me tooting my own horn.
I started this, and I think it's true that people flock to you, and in a zombie apocalypse, you would be the absolute leader, and you'd be a great leader because you absolutely do not want to be the leader. And I do think it means they would kill you upon finding our group.
Yeah, that would be complicated.
Unless I'm standing in front of the gunman, I'm like, he doesn't want to lead. I swear.
But I'm also a good liar, and I'm very agreeable.
You are not funny.
And
you could charm.
I can charm, and I can lie. And as I've always said on this podcast, I don't understand when captives in movies and TV shows are like, cut off my whole arm before I agree that you've got a good idea. Just agree until you're out of the room.
Yeah.
If you don't have to do horribly morally compromising things in that moment, just be like, oh, great idea, boss. And then just talk shit when they leave. That's how human society has always kind of existed.
This is me whenever I watch something and they like hold someone at gunpoint and make them sign a piece of paper. And I'm like, yeah, that's legally binding.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I'm going to sign that immediately. And then good luck in the courts with my gunpoint paper.
Have fun with that, y'all.
Yeah, sure. I'll sign the thing that kills dogs. Whatever. Go right ahead.
But I think the last thing that I will say is that I am going to continue watching this because it has been good enough. There's been some good performances. And I want to see how they're going to end this story.
I am curious, and I do want to see Rick and Michonne together more.
Because they limply ended The Walking Dead with, not as many people watching it as once did, and with none of the main characters on it, and all of whom got a spinoff.
Guys, we didn't even touch on how many spinoffs there are on this show.
Yeah, right? Like, so Daryl's gone. Maggie and Negan have a spinoff.
Carol's on season 2 of Daryl.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought Carol was getting her own, but maybe they've changed that.
No, she was, it was originally supposed to be Daryl and Carol, but Melissa McBride wanted a year off. She's like, I've done this for such a long time. So she's like, I'll be on season 2.
Makes a lot of sense.
So season 2 is Daryl and Carol.
So I actually sincerely, even if this show ends up getting incredible in these last 3 episodes, I hope to God they're not planning a second season. I haven't looked it up. I just hope that this is it. And
you just want
I just want closure. I just want a yes, that was what season 8 of The Walking Dead should have been. The ending of the story of the lead characters of the show. That's all I want from this.
Interesting.
So I'm going to keep watching. And unless I look it up after this and see that there's a season 2 announced, in which case I will stop watching.
Oh, wow. That's such a weird flex that AMC would be like, wait, no.
Yeah, pretty much.
You've been warned, AMC.
You've been warned. Closure.
Closure.
Stop trying to milk things for 20 years.
Yeah, let a character have an ending.
Let it go. Well, let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question. What would you change? So now that we've discussed everything, what would you change about this if you could change anything? Before we do, we'll remind you to please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, or wherever you get your podcasts. It's a free way to support the show. It helps us move up the charts. It helps us find new listeners. It's a sincerely meaningful way to help us or any of the podcasters you listen to. So just take like a minute of your day, do this free thing, do it for us, but also do it for like 2 other podcasts that you love while you're there, because it really does help us out.
Yeah, once you get a flow going of leaving reviews, you'll be like, yeah, and then you feel really good about yourself. Here's what I wish. I wish we could reply to reviews, because I do want to thank every individual person and write them a nice little thing.
Yeah.
And we can't, and that always hurts my soul. So thank you to everyone who's ever reviewed. I mean, if it's like above 3 stars.
Yeah.
If it's not, well, meh. But anyone who left us a nice review, thank you so much. And I wish I could just tell you thanks so much.
Thank
but
you.
I can't.
Yeah.
They don't let me.
They don't let us.
But it means a lot.
It does mean a lot. And that's a free way to support the show. If you do want to support the show monetarily, you can do that over on Patreon, which is a monthly subscription service where you can subscribe at whatever level is in your budget, and you will get different levels of cool bonuses for doing so. So you can kick in as little as $1 a month, and that helps us run this network. It helps make sure that this is our full-time job, and it means that we love and appreciate you. And $1 is not nothing. Those add up, and they make a world of difference. So we really do love and appreciate even our dollar level patrons. You're amazing.
You all come together like voting and make a difference.
You make a huge difference. And then you also get our webcomic Text from Superheroes early. And at the $3 level, you will get these episodes of the podcast early and ad-free, plus episodes of the webcomic early. And at the $10 hero level, you will get a bonus episode of this podcast every single month, plus all the other benefits, the early and ad-free, the early webcomic. You get all of it at the $10 level. This month, we are talking about Poltergeist, the remake of Poltergeist is what we're talking about this month.
Yes, because we're doing the original Poltergeist, and the guy who did the reboot of Poltergeist directed the new Ghostbusters coming out.
That is how it's all connected.
There's ghostly connections.
There's ghostly connections. So the director of Ghostbusters Afterlife directed the Poltergeist remake, and that's what we're talking about this month on the Patreon. So be sure to be subscribed to that. Head on over to patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. That is patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. And now let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question of what would you change? Diana, what would you change?
This is hard for me because, like, I think the military stuff is, like, as we've said, it's like a cool idea if the main characters were interested in it. I think an easy way to make them interested in it is, like, they already know about Alexandria and are probably going to bomb it, or they're trying to make sure they don't find out about Alexandria and they're, like, trying to take them down from the inside. I think those are little changes that would really help explain why Rick's not leaving. I'm trying to protect Alexandria from, like, inside. But my biggest change, actually, and this was, like, annoyed me a lot, the Michonne episode is going to be the first episode. Because I thought the reveal that Michonne was behind him and had just found him was so obvious. And this is like their big reunion. It's been 8 years since they saw each other, and I wanted this to be a big, huge moment. And when the helicopter crashed, and you see even before you saw a bit of a sword, I'm like, well, yeah, it's Michonne. Obviously.
It's Michonne, yeah.
But I think if you have this whole Michonne episode, and she's trying to find Rick, and then she takes down a helicopter, and we have no reason to think Rick's on it, and then, like, almost kills him and pulls the mask off, I think that's actually a genuine surprise that that's Rick. And then we get told what happened to him and how he got to this place. Because the last we saw Rick, he was just, like, being helicoptered away to some place. So I think it would be genuinely surprising if the Michonne episode was first and revealed him. And I really like a surprise, like, reunion, and then we would have felt what Michonne felt a little bit more, because I think it just saw it coming. So I'm just gonna switch the episode order as my biggest change that I want to see, because I really like a good shock that's earned. Andrew, what would you change?
I love that. That is awesome.
Thank you.
Because the Michonne episode, it's a hotter episode.
It's a hotter episode.
Hits.
The whole episode's good. The beginning of the Rick episode's real good, but the whole Michonne episode slaps.
And the Michonne episode slaps. It would be a stronger opening to the season. You're right. Then it would end on a surprise, and then it also gives more validity to, like, it's closer to, because Michonne left the series in season 9, so it's closer to a more recent thing in the series. And then, so, like, it's a tighter timeline. And then, yeah, you get the Rick, like, what happened to you, Rick? And then we can tell the story that way. Because I think one thing that really didn't work in episode 1 was the non-linear way that they tell Rick's story.
Why was it like that?
It starts with him watching the news broadcast about the attack on Oregon, already missing the arm, and then it goes back and then forward and then back, and then we end the episode where we began with him watching a TV report. It doesn't work. It's just kind of pointless. But your change would be, like, then that second episode could be Rick's, and it could be, like, just one flashback that's kind of linear in that way of, like, 6 years ago to now.
Yeah, how did he become a soldier who, as far as she knows, chlorine gas is innocence?
Yeah.
Like
that's awesome.
You're way more intrigued.
Awesome.
So that's my change.
That is awesome. My change is that they should know about Alexandria and be threatened by it, the CRM, because then it gives actual motivation and agency for Rick and Michonne to get involved in this plot line in any way at all.
Totally good.
If it was like if we started the action or like moved that attack on Oregon a little bit earlier in the timeline, and Rick being like, yeah, they attack other cities that are threats. They attacked Oregon. And then it could be like coming back and being like, we got a map of this new place, Alexandria. We're gonna go gas it. Now it's a reason to be like, I've got to do something within the system to stop these people, or I've got to escape and fight against them. But it allows them to be like, I need to be involved in this storyline. I can't just be running away from this storyline at every opportunity. I need to be engaged in this storyline.
No, I think that absolutely, needs to happen. Yeah, there has to be. And I love that, like, reasoning of, like, Alexandria's just getting a little bit bigger every year. And, like, they finally become a threat 5 years in or something. Something
like that. Or they just got found out about for some reason. Something. Because to use the, like, you know, bringing up Snake Plissken once in this episode, who is, like, because we watched the attack on both New York and LA, or Escape from New York and LA a little while back on the podcast, and it's like he's a reluctant hero. He's someone who's like, I don't want to do this, but the like, Snake, you've been poisoned and you have 24 hours, and then we have an antidote. That is a like, fuck, I'm reluctant, but now I'm forced to engage in this plot. Rick has no reason to be forced to engage in this plot, and I feel like CRM plan on attacking Alexandria is a perfect, we're forced to engage in this plot reason.
Love it. I love having better motivations, clearer reasonings. I think it's great.
Yeah.
No. Excellent.
Beauty.
Fixed it.
That is it then for this week on The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. Next week on the podcast, we are going to be back and we are going to be talking about Poltergeist, 1982's Poltergeist.
Yeah, so OG Poltergeist on the main, new Poltergeist on the Patreon.
Yes, OG Poltergeist on the main, the 2015 Poltergeist remake on the Patreon, directed by Gil Keenan, who is directing Ghostbusters Afterlife, which we'll be covering in 2 weeks. So that's what's coming up on the schedule. In the meantime, spooky times. Classic spooks in March. Spooky March.
Everyone talks about scary March.
Oh, what is that? What's coming? April showers? Spooks! So that's what's coming up. In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of us, you can find me on Instagram and some other places at Ivimey, Ivimey.
He's Ivimey everywhere, and he's just got that handle
locked down.
And it's frustrating, because I am Words of Diana on Tumblr, and I'm Pics of Diana on Threads and Instagram.
And if you want to find both of us, you can find us most places at From Superheroes. And you can check out all the podcasts that we create and everything that we do over at FromSuperheroes.com. And we'll talk to you all next week.
Bye.